Good evening, everyone. I think we have 10 of you, 11. Well, we have 11 with our presenters and myself. So there's another one. So I am recording because I want to have this for next year if anyone's interested in referencing it again. I would like to start by, first of all, welcome, and by introducing Diane and Amanda Gubbles. And I have their formal little introduction, which you may have seen on the website. Someone just sent me a chat, but I'll look at it in a moment. But before I do that, I want to just tell a little bit of a personal story. I know Diane because she lives in Brights Grove, which is adjacent to Sarnia. And it's years ago, but we met over wine. Didn't we? And I met your delightful son, whom I absolutely adored. And Amanda has been to some of our conferences, and she is also on my planning committee that is helping us to create a new gene collective when the day comes that I just feel too exhausted to continue doing this. I'm hoping to have a really great team of more than one person who will replace me. And Amanda is on that team. So let me tell you a little bit about both of them. Amanda Gubbles has worked in local government for over 15 years, including the past decade leading various organizations as a chief administrative officer. She holds a master's degree in public administration and public policy and has led 4 municipal elections throughout her career so far. Amanda is passionate about good governance, strong teams, and community-focused leadership. Diane Gold-Brown is a retired municipal clerk. She tells me she's filling in on a maternity leave right now, who has extensive experience in local government administration and is passionate about promoting excellence in election management. She holds a general diploma in public administration from Western University. Diane also served as a municipal advisor with municipal affairs and housing, providing guidance and support to municipalities across the province. For me, when I was first a municipal clerk and then a politician, the folks who worked at municipal affairs were like the most important people in our lives because we went to them for advice in all kinds of ways, especially as a clerk. So, Diane, I think it's wonderful that you're bringing that extra experience to this group tonight. And I'm going to turn it over to the two of them. They have the ability to share. They've prepared a program for us, and I'm excited to see what they have to share. And while they're doing that, I'm going to check out the chat. So whichever one of you would like to start.
Thanks, Helen, and thanks for that intro and everyone for being here. Pleasure to speak with all of you tonight. So Diane and I have also known each other a number of years, and we've put together a little presentation to review with you. I know some of you are seasoned, some of you, this might be your first time considering running. So the presentation starts from kind of a beginner level, but we are looking forward to sharing that information with everyone. I do want to note that Diane and I are very happy to be here supporting others in learning about the municipal sector, which I love anyway, and we both love. And but we are representing ourselves here. So just want to make that kind of disclaimer, our own personal, professional expertise and not a current or past employer. We will take questions throughout the presentation, so feel free to raise your hand, use those Zoom functions, whatever you need to do, and we'll ask Helen to also help us um, uh, get
Amanda,
that going. Yes, I know
and
I haven't shared the screen yet. Is that
they're
right?
going to put their questions in the chat, remember?
Perfect. They're
Yes.
going to put their questions in the chat, and I did not remember that. Thank you, Helen. So we look forward to hearing from you during the presentation. So to start us off, I'll just start by sharing my screen here, and I think you can see it. Okay, so thanks again for having us. Diane and I are here today. So I'll just start with the typical what are we going to talk about today kind of slide. So today we will be talking about hopefully material you'll find helpful as someone who's considering running for council. Will help you understand what councils do, the roles and responsibilities of being a member of council, how to submit your nomination paperwork, and a little bit about campaign finances. We are prepared for questions on that one, and also identify some resources for you for the process. So to start, and again, this might be not not new to everyone, but we always think it's a great idea to talk a little bit, sorry, about a little bit of a 101 on government in general, and uh, just to understand the local context that municipalities work in. So to start, as you know, everyone knows, public services are provided across many levels of government in Canada, three specifically, the federal, provincial, and municipal government. And they all have different types of responsibilities and areas of focus. The municipal government, as you know, is the closest to the people, the one that impacts those everyday decisions and everyday aspects of people's lives. So we think very exciting. Uh, and the federal level, for example, sets kind of wider policy, foreign affairs, those type of things. The important thing to note about municipalities is that they are, in the political science world, known as creatures of the province, meaning the province, we exist as local governments based on essentially the province's permission and their design. So they shape the municipal sector, the overall structure and funding, the shapes, the physical geography of municipalities as well. As you can recall, in the 90s, amalgamation, all led by the province. Um, uh, so it makes for an interesting climate when you have citizens who are interested in definitely all of these services, but local government deals with a certain section of these services. We do have a little video about local government in general, and I was going to flip to Helen to share that for us, if she could. Now, it is a short, but it's cartoony and cute, and it just goes over what municipalities do and the different structures of municipalities as well. Helen, could I ask you to take that over for us?
Sure, just give me a moment. I need
Yeah.
to find it on my screen.
Perfect. Thank you.
Divided into 444 different communities called municipalities. Each municipality has its own local government, which is responsible for the planning, safety, and growth of their community. Municipal governments actually receive their powers from the provincial government. They are responsible for local and everyday matters, such as water, fire protection, policing, parks, community and recreation centers, libraries, garbage and recycling, land use and planning, roads and sidewalks, transportation systems, and much more. A municipality can be called a city, town, village, township, county, or region, and they are part of either a single-tier or a two-tier system of government. A single-tier system has one government with one council. A two-tier system has two governments with two councils. Single-tier municipalities manage all of their responsibilities on their own. Examples include larger cities like Toronto, Windsor, and Ottawa, or smaller townships like Red Rock and Nipissing. In a two-tier system, several lower-tier municipalities are grouped together under the umbrella of an upper-tier municipality. An upper-tier municipality is responsible for larger regional services, like policing and waste management. Brampton, Mississauga, and Caledon are lower-tier municipalities, and the region of Peel is the upper-tier municipality. Every municipality is different, but they all have several things in common: a defined geographic area, the power to tax, and an elected council. The elected council of lower-tier and single-tier municipalities is called a local municipal council. The head of the local council is called a mayor or a reeve. They are elected at large, which means by all eligible voters within a municipality. Local council members are called councillors or aldermen, and they can be elected at large or by using a ward system that breaks the municipality down into smaller areas. Some municipalities use a mix of both at-large and ward systems. The role of council members is to listen to the concerns of people living in their community and to attend meetings to discuss, debate, and create bylaws and decisions for the municipality. Your municipal government impacts you every day. In an election, you decide who will lead and direct your municipality. Vote wisely.
Thanks, Helen, for that. So again, that might have been a repeat or information you already know, but we just think it's important everyone understands the context of local government. Or oops, we don't want to see it on here. Next.
Hey, I'm trying to get rid of it.
There. Can you guys see my screen now? It says municipal government structure. Okay, perfect. So thanks again, Helen, for that. So the important thing for you as potential candidates in an election is to think about the municipality you're running in. What services does it directly provide? Would you be a member of an upper tier council? Are you elected by ward versus at large? All these things will make a difference in how you campaign, how you get feedback from voters, and also how you represent in the community. Each municipality itself does decide how it's organized. Each lower tier municipality decides how it's organized. So whether that be in wards or have at-large councillors. So all that structure is dependent on the municipality. And so it's really just important that you do your research and understand the municipality you're running in and how their council is structured and how they work with the upper tier council if there is one. Some municipalities, like for example, the city of Sarnia, has specific positions on council that are both representatives at the upper and the lower tier. So that's just something to consider. Sometimes they'll have positions that are like local and county councillor kind of thing. So something for you to consider. And then ward versus at large, the video did go over it, but it's there. So it's all about how you're elected in, being just a smaller geographic area or everywhere around the community. Always mayors are elected at large, meaning the entire municipality votes for a single mayoral position or sometimes a deputy mayoral position. But councillors can be elected either across the whole municipality at large or by a specific geographic area or known as a ward. So just for your awareness. The other thing is that municipalities, again, operate in a broad-based legislative context. So this list here is just a fraction, truly a fraction of the legislation that municipalities have.
Reflects the public interest.
Excuse me,
We provide programs that help municipal governments make
Amanda?
money through.
Yes?
investments,
is
save
that
money,
sound
help
coming
purchase
from you
solve
or
for
me?
property through efficiency services.
I think that's coming
through
from
our
you, Helen.
enterprise Center and local authority services.
Hold
Another
on.
way AMO serves municipalities is through the Municipal Employer Pension Center of Ontario, or MEPCO. MEPCO was created by
Because
AMO
when
to
you were
provide
muted, I didn't hear it. Did anyone else hear it
advice and
before?
Hold on,
resources to its
hold on.
employer representatives to OMERS, the municipal pension system. Over 400 municipal governments are OMERS employers, with more than a third of all its members working for
You're set. Gone.
I am
Oops.
sorry.
That's okay. Crisis
Trying to
averted.
figure out why that was playing behind. And I am not sure that people could hear everything you were saying. And you were so incredibly calm through all of that. I
Oh,
think what it did was automatically go into the next recording. And I am so sorry.
no, that's okay. I think we didn't hear you because your speaker was muted. So
Oh,
we're all good, but
good.
I'm glad
Good.
that
Okay.
I'm
You go
glad we
ahead.
fixed it. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, so again, this is just a snippet of the legislation municipalities operate under. It's not really like sexy stuff, but it matters. It all matters. The good thing to note is that as a member of municipal council, you will not be as an individual asked about, well, you might be, but you're not expected to be an expert on this legislation, and you're not expected to know like what section 239 of the Municipal Act says. I do know, but that's because that's my job. Um, so, but you should know that this legislation exists, and there will be decisions that council will be asked to make that legislation will impact. So if it, you should be aware of the fact that it exists so that you can ask the right questions of your municipal staff and at the council table. Things like, is this the proper way for us to sell this land, for example, which is governed under the Municipal Act? There's a certain process municipalities must undertake. So more for your awareness. The other thing is, yeah.
There is a question. What
Okay.
is the latest version of the Municipal Act? Is it 2001 as you have here, or was there another version after that?
Great question. So the Municipal Act is known as the Municipal Act 2001 because that's its first rehaul, we'll say, rehaul. However, it is updated regularly, almost sometimes like annually. And my best resource for you to get the most up to dated, regardless of the version, it's always called Municipal Act 2001. But if you go on eLaws, best resource tool for up-to-date legislation, it integrates all the regulations the province passes. So oftentimes they'll pass like a regulation to update just a section of the Municipal Act. They consolidate it all and it's posted on eLaws. So you can always find the most up-to-date section and it will tell you the regulations that are included. Great question. Thanks for that, Helen. The other thing is, as a counselor, you also will talk. I'll talk a little bit about staff and council relationships in a bit, but staff will guide you on this legislation, and one of their key roles is to, provide council. Let's say you wanted to sell some land, to provide council a report that says we have this land. We suggest that council consider selling it. The Municipal Act has a process. These are the steps. Therefore, if you want to proceed, you have to do this. You have to pass a resolution or whatever. So staff is there as your resource for legislation also. And there's always new and changing legislation too. So it's something you can look forward to learning about as time goes on. The other thing is I wanted to review a little bit about roles and responsibilities of the council as a whole, the mayor, and individual councillors. And they are separate, related, but different. The important thing as anyone who's thinking of joining a council to consider is that council power only exists when council votes together. So council makes decisions by resolution at the council table only. So when a vote is taken, that's how council makes decisions. Overall, council is responsible for setting the direction of the municipality, identifying projects, approving a budget, all those kinds of fun things. They make decisions together by consensus. So majority rules always. Well, almost always. I'll talk about that in the municipal world. And individual members themselves do not direct staff. I'll talk about that a little bit also. But the idea is that the collective council focuses on the municipality as a whole. Even when you're a ward councillor, you still represent that ward, but you are intended to think about the collective interests of everyone in the municipality as a whole. The mayor, of course, does have a unique leadership role on municipal council. They still only have one vote. So they don't carry any more voting power typically than any other member of council. The mayor does often, always chairs council meetings and kind of drives the agenda, recognizes speakers in that kind of procedural way. They represent the municipality publicly, are interviewed often for media reasons. They work closely with the chief administrative officer. And then overall, the mayor is responsible to shape the tone and culture of the organization and of council itself. Individuals as counselors have a role to overall represent the community and their area, attend meetings, do their research, prepare agenda, read the agendas and materials, and then just generally be respectful. I don't think that's an official requirement. We just like it if everyone's respectful. The one thing I realized when I was reviewing this today is the mayor, is some new legislation. I told you the province always changes legislation and not always, but often. And that has happened relatively recently when it comes to the mayoral role on municipal council. So the province of Ontario has passed something called the Strong Mayor's Powers, Strong Mayor Powers, which allow mayors of certain municipalities, largely large municipalities, but then also small municipalities that have a council over 5 members, to have strong mayor powers. So I currently work for quite a small municipality that has a population of about 6,000 people, and our mayor has strong mayor powers. And which creates a different dynamic. The strong mayor powers are provided by the province with an intent, they say, of supporting housing. And there are a few things that the mayor can do when these powers exist. Things like the mayor is responsible to prepare and present the annual budget. And there's a different process for council involvement and voting on that process when there's a strong mayor power. They're also able to unilaterally hire and fire the chief administrative officer, as well as a few other senior staff members in the municipal organization. They also can actually unilaterally reorganize a municipality structure so they can eliminate positions. And then there's a few other things they can do. They can issue mayoral directions as long as it's under the auspices of supporting moving forward that provincial goal related to housing. So if you are in a strong mayor, if you are looking to be a candidate in a strong mayor municipality, I would encourage you, I didn't make a slide on it, to look up strong mayor powers and those abilities, because they are relatively new, and the media reporting on them is still quite new, but they do alter the dynamics of council and how council votes on certain issues like the budget and other things. So something for your awareness as well. The other thing I wanted to touch on with council and staff relationships. So council, I always like the analogy of the council steers the ship, right? They set the direction, they set the vision, they approve the budget, unless you have a strong mayor who approves the budget, then you and council assists or staff assist council by rowing that ship and making sure the things that council asks to be done get done. And that's really staff's role. It's that's all really staff is there to do, to provide the best professional advice to council that they can, and to implement what council decides. And I always like to advocate for respect between council and staff, because it will happen. If you are a counselor, there will be a time, I guarantee you, that you do not agree with a staff person in their opinion. And as a member of staff, that often happens the other way around. And just that piece about respect is very important, and to recognize that you both come, staff and council come from different perspectives, and ultimately staff's just there though to support the decisions of council. And as a leader of a team, my role always, council makes decisions that I don't always agree with. The important thing is they should never know that I don't agree with them, or like they should know I don't, but they should know I will also do my best to implement their decision even when I don't agree. And that's where I think sometimes conflict can happen in that moment. So something you should be aware of. The role clarity on who does what. So as a candidate and as a counselor, you will get calls from people about I have a pothole on my road and it hasn't been fixed for 5 years and it needs to be fixed. I would just encourage you to go through your senior staff. Yes, Helen, I see you.
We have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Members run if their family members work as municipal staff, or is this a conflict of interest?
That's a great question. So I'll give my answer, but Diane, I'm going to ask you to weigh in after.
Okay.
So I think there's no legislative limitation to a staff member's spouse or partner or family member running for council. So the answer is yes. As long as you meet the other eligibility criteria, you can run for council if you're related to a staff person. There may be a conflict of interest. I think there could be, and there likely will be on a number of issues. So if there's something like a salary review the municipality is doing, or if your spouse is a member of a union, and you're voting on a collective agreement, or there's an issue with the union, there are definitely times that you would be expected, you would be assumed to be declaring a conflict of interest. It's not something that can't be navigated. Like it can be navigated, but it's something you would need to be aware of. And for that, and there's always an integrity commissioner who can help answer questions on whether there is a conflict of interest on specific questions or specific votes. But all the time, will there be a conflict? No. It's really where you or your spouse have a direct or indirect financial, usually interest. So if it's about, that's why I gave the example of if it's about a salary vote for staff, and your spouse is a recipient of a salary, then you making a decision could directly or indirectly impact yourself and your spouse. That'd be my example. Diane, do you have anything you'd
No,
like
that's
to?
an excellent answer. That's exactly what I would say as well. If there's any pecuniary, i.e. financial relationship that would affect that person, that's where that counselor would remove themselves from that decision.
Mhm. And they may be high stakes decisions, like things like union contracts and salaries and stuff like, but
Correct.
there's still tons of other decisions that you could participate in as a counselor, even if your spouse was a member of staff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Thanks. So I'm almost, I am, this is my last slide. So I'm happy. Yes.
There
Oh,
was
go ahead.
another question in there, Helen?
Oh, was there?
So it's good. It was a
Okay.
thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm happy to turn it over to Diane to walk us through the next part of the presentation. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Amanda. So I'll start with running for council, and this is the nomination process. So I'll take you through the nomination process for running for council, and to simplify the nomination process, it's basically 4 steps. So there's eligibility, filing requirements, adhering to deadlines, and then the campaign period. So some common misconceptions to note. You'll see that the eligibility, you have to be a Canadian citizen, 18 plus years old, reside in the municipality or own or lease, or be the spouse of someone who does. And when the last part there, not otherwise disqualified by law, you do not need any previous political experience, of course. You do not need to, as we say, own a home. Renters are fully eligible. You do not need to be retired. Most councillors do have other jobs. Not in somewhere like the City of Toronto, that is their full-time job, and they have a full-time staff. But at most places, they don't. They have full-time jobs or they've retired from a profession. There are some things that you can't, if you're not you wouldn't be eligible, as if you're a municipal employee. We would have to take an unpaid leave of absence if we wanted to run for council. And you cannot be a judge, an MP, MPP, or a senator. You can't be an inmate serving a sentence. And you don't have to live in the specific ward that you want to run for, but you're missing out on a vote if you do, your own vote. So that's a little something to remember for your eligibility. So we'll go to nomination fee and campaign launch. So the filing fee is $100 for the position as a member of council and $200 for the position as the head of council. And I would say, Amanda, most of the municipalities do give that nomination fee back after if you're successful. So we'll go on to the next one. And then filing your nominations, they open May 1st to August 21st next year, 2026. You can complete the official nomination form 1, and this is a form that the province provides for nominations, and it's a prescribed form. So that means the clerk cannot alter that form at all. So you will fill that form out and provide that back to the clerk. The nomination must be filed during the nomination period, and you must bring acceptable identification. And there is some additional paperwork, as you'll see on the next slide. Filing early gives you a head start on your campaign planning as well. Yeah, so but showing your identification will show that you own or live in the area that you are running for. So what else do we need to do? Some key dates to remember would be the nomination period, as we say, is May 1st, 2026. The period closes August 21st, 2026 at 2 p.m. And every municipality follows that. It's one of the provincial regulations. And election day is October 26, 2026, and the first term of council starts, the term starts actually November 15th, 2026. So most municipalities will have their inaugural meeting before, I think it is December 19th or 12th, I believe. Yeah. So I'll go on to the next slide. And so we're going to go on to endorsement signatures. And you must gather 25 eligible electors in your municipality to endorse your nomination. This was brought in the last election. I don't believe it was any earlier than the last election, Amanda? Or was it 28? Yeah, okay. And then the endorsement form must be submitted with your nomination paper, and you cannot delay it. Again, that's another prescribed provincial form that the clerk will provide. and they don't alter those forms. So when you do decide to run for council, when you're collecting those 25 signatures, it's only if your municipality has more than 4,000 electors. And this is a great opportunity for you to visit your neighbors and let them know you're running for council and let them just know who you are. And how it works is, let's see, there's no limit on how many candidates a person can endorse. So, and once it's filed with the clerk, the endorsements cannot be revoked. So you can't just say, oh, I'm going to take off Joe Smith. Once it's presented to the clerk, it's final. And the endorsement does become a public document as well. So we'll go on to the next slide. So after your nomination's accepted, the municipal clerk will certify your nomination, and then it's how you're going to appear on the ballot. So you can review the candidate guide, which we will provide a date to Helen when that will be out. We'll know better probably just after January 1st. We'll know better. And the municipal guide will have municipal rules for campaign finance, advertising, signs, and conduct. And so it's best to stay in contact with the clerk, and they'll confirm all the different deadlines that you'll need to adhere to. And you can withdraw or amend your nomination, but there's deadlines to do that. So you would check again with your local guide. And if you do withdraw, they'll want that in writing as well. So we'll go on to nomination tips. We have, so it's a good idea to make an appointment early with the clerk's office or call ahead to see if you can get an appointment to drop off your nomination. Bring your government ID and ensure you have your 25 endorsements from the Form 2. Filing early allows more time to plan for your campaign. And then you'll also want to check to see if you're on the voters list. So we'll discuss a little bit more of that as we go along. And we'll go over to the next slide.
Before we move on,
Oh,
Diane,
sure.
we did get a question
Okay.
in our
Oh, that's a great question. No, the endorser doesn't have to vote for you at all. They're just endorsing that, they support you. But again, that's mainly on them who they want to vote for. So it's just an endorsement.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that, Amanda?
No, other than it will be made public. I would just
Yes,
add to let them know.
that's why, I mentioned that
Yeah,
it becomes
did.
public, and that's a good point. So that person that endorsed you, their name's going to be out there that they endorsed you.
And there was another fee also from Susan. Are the fees mandated by the province? So they're the same in each municipality.
Yes, they are. And they are not altered at this time at all. So they haven't changed those in many years that I remember. Let's see, we'll go on to the next slide, campaign finance basics. So when you're running a campaign, you need to set up, and the clerk will go over this when you put in your nomination paper, endorsement papers. You need a separate campaign bank account. And the spending limits apply, and they're set by a formula. So the clerk, again, will not have this until nomination day. So what they use is 2022, a number of electors in that municipality, and then they do a formula to tell you what your campaign spending limit will be. And you need to adhere to that, because at the end of it all, you're going to track during the campaign, you're going to track all your campaign expenses. So you go out and you buy signs and you buy paper, and you'll need to track all that. And if you need help with that, you're more than welcome to get somebody with financial background to do all that with you. And then at the very end of the campaign, you're going to file a financial statement of Form 4. So anytime we talk about Form 1, Form 2, Form 4, they're all provincial forms, and the clerk will not, that's the ones that they will give you, and they have no leeway to change any of those. So they just adhere to that legislation. So you can run a small, simple campaign. You can do some signs, some door knocking, and conversations might be enough. And some people, like some average municipalities would be like the one I worked for before was um, just over 7,000 people. And to give you an idea, most of them, the folks had a $9,500 spending limit for their campaign. And I'll tell you, most of them never even come close to that, even with the signage and that. I don't know if you have any other stories with that, Amanda? No.
You
Yeah.
know, usually in the, sorry, Diane.
Mhm.
So usually in your municipalities, each municipal office will put out a candidate guide. Your clerk will make it for the municipality you're running in, and it will include your preliminary
Yeah.
spending limit, so you can have it in advance. But often agree, Diane, I've not seen in a municipality I work for anyone come close to the number, but in large places, I'm sure they do.
Yes, definitely. And like you mentioned in the Peel area and Toronto area, they would probably come close because they've got a huge area to cover. So when you file your nomination papers, as we mentioned, you'll get the campaign expense limit. And let's see, the campaign financial statement has to be submitted back to the clerk before March 31st, 2027 at 2 p.m. And most people have them in by the end of the year, so end of 2026. But if somebody needed an extension, you'd have to talk to your clerk and they would also give you an extension. But even if you don't spend any money, you still have to fill out that Form 4 financial statement, and you would put 0, 0 and sign it, date it, and then you're clear to be able to run again in the next municipal election if you chose to do so. Yes, Helen.
Diane, there was a question,
Okay.
and I think what they were referring to is, can they claim their expenses on their income tax?
I believe you cannot. No.
Okay. Might be a good idea to have an accountant you can ask.
Yeah, you can ask an accountant, and you'll find most clerks will not provide any financial assistance with that because again, you can get an accountant to help you with all those financial questions. That is not the clerk's role, and they're just basically taking that information and filing it for transparency. Okay, so we'll go on to the next one is election signs and advertising rules. So you must comply with the local sign bylaws. So typically signs, election signs, you'll notice they can't be on road allowances, boulevards, or medians unless there's permission through the election sign bylaw. You're not going to put them on municipal properties and parks and facilities, fire halls and libraries and arenas. And you do have to remove them from those areas within 24 to 48 hours after election day. And if you do accidentally put them in a road allowance or somewhere that isn't allowed, municipal staff are directed to go around and remove those signs. And they're good folks. They'll take them back to the municipality and they'll store them. And usually a clerk staff person will call you and say, well, we've got your signs here. And could you please pick them up? Some places will charge you a fee, some of the larger places for doing that. So it's good to check with the election bylaw and ask the clerk when you file your nomination papers, could I have your election sign bylaw? It might be part of a bigger comprehensive bylaw, or it could be on its own as an election sign bylaw. And then also too, I think we just on there, campaign materials cannot, yes, use municipal branding. So you can't put in a municipal name in the top corner and have vote for Jane Smith. You're not allowed to do that as well. And believe me, people try to do all sorts of things with logos and signage and the colors just to grab people's eyes. But yeah, you cannot do anything close to remaking the logo. Okay, so we go into now running for council and some personal considerations. So there's a large time commitment. It depends on the size of the municipality. So council work involves regular meetings, committee work, and community events. And Amanda and I both know that there's some councillors go all in and they join lots of committees and lots of boards and do lots of things. And then there's some council members that just go to the regular meetings that they need to attend, and that works for them. So it's a personal preference thing. There is sometimes a lot of evening meetings, and a lot of them are now switching. Some have today meetings, and then you can also attend by Zoom as well. So it depends on what your situation is at that time. And there are a large number of reports, and as staff members, Amanda and I would agree that it's best to go over those staff reports so that when you get into those meetings, you understand what the staff person is when what they're explaining about some sort of project, and then you have a bit more context, and then it helps with also asking the right questions at the meeting as well. So community engagement, you need to understand your local issues and priorities. And it's best to build some relationships with residents, businesses, and community groups. And you have to be prepared for public scrutiny and feedback, positive and negative. Skills and responsibilities, decision making, you'll have on budgets, planning and policies, some ability to read and interpret reports and ask questions and just think them through carefully. And communication skills are required for explaining decisions to the public. So some decision came down at council, resolution was passed, and then somebody stops you in the street and says, "Can you explain that to me? What happened?" Because I just could not understand what they just passed at that. So it's, you just kind of do your homework and keep on top of all the different priorities. So it's best to develop a platform based on the community needs. So you need to do your homework, look at past staff reports. It's probably the best way because you're going to see what actually the staff report that was passed by the council. You'll get all the nitty-gritty about what that project is about instead of hearing, a neighbor 2 doors down talk about it. So if you need to get some information on that project, it's probably best to go online and get the staff report, and the clerk is always helpful, someone in the department to guide you on that. So yeah, there's use social media responsibly and complying with the election rules. And Amanda will get into a bit more of that later on. Personal consideration. So you just have to ask yourself, why do you want to run, and be ready for public visibility and understand the impact on your personal life. Okay, so the real hook of the session here. So we're just a weekly estimate, approximately 8 to 20 hours a week, depending on the issues, committees that you're involved in, public engagement, and committee size. And we talked about expect the public scrutiny. Managing disagreements respectfully is a major part of the job. Some of you may wonder how much time you need to commit if you become an elected official. So this pie chart here is pretty good. It breaks down some of the work that's involved with being a council member. We found this and we thought this is really helpful. And as I mentioned before, if you check the minutes of the previous council and committee meetings, along with approved scheduled meetings, you'll be able to estimate how much time you may spend in meetings. Let's see how this does not take into consideration the time spent responding to your electors, reporting local events, preparing for the meetings, networking, and doing your research. So, again, it's a preference thing with council members. It's how much they want to put into it and what they will get out of it through, just be an effective council member and supporting their community. Do you have anything else to add, Amanda?
No, I think you did a great job.
Okay.
Thanks, Diane.
All right, we'll go on to compensation. So if you think you're going to get rich being a council member, then you probably picked the wrong area to get involved with. Because if you spread out all those different things, it's not as much as you would think it would be, but it really depends on it's an honorarium. So you can look at various different municipalities. It's not a secret of what they get. It's all posted public information. So they can vary from 12,000 a year to 40,000 a year. So really depends on the size of the municipality. And the positions, your mayor and deputy mayor always get compensated more. And council members will also receive an expense allowance to cover costs with attendance at educational or networking opportunities such as conferences and seminars. And they will send you, if you're interested, on some great conferences and seminars. You'll get loads of information to bring back to the municipality. And you're compensated for your travel if you go to Toronto by train or car allowance. You'll be reimbursed for all of that. And that would be covered under the council compensation and remuneration bylaw. And it's provided, again, everything's open and transparent in municipalities. So you can look that information up or ask the clerk's department for a copy of that. All right. So after the election, so if you are elected, the municipal clerk will provide you with an agenda for the training they have proposed. Sometimes they bring in outside speakers. For example, the municipalities will bring in their integrity commissioner and they usually do a presentation. And if you decide to sit on a committee or board, there will be some training involved there. And usually the staff do that in conjunction with the chair of the committee. The CAO's office will likely have a meeting to inform the new council members of the municipality's strategic plan. And that's the plan that guides the municipality with their vision and mission and strategic pillar over a 4-year period. So I'm putting you on the hot seat here, Amanda. Do you usually have something with council members about strategic plans and that?
Yeah, I think I would usually go over the previous strategic plan, the completion rate. So if there were any key tasks remaining incomplete following that council term. And then I would also put council on notice that as part of one of their first responsibilities as an elected representative, we will be embarking usually on a new strategic plan for their term of council, where council would be engaged on setting out their priorities for the 4 years by consensus, which is a very interesting process.
It is a
for a new
interesting
council. Yeah.
process. And also too, like they'll bring someone in to talk about the official plan for the municipality. It'd be usually a staff member, and they'll just focus on the land use planning and the growth management that's forecasted for the municipality. So you get loads of information. And you can always ask questions after the fact, and people are really good about bringing on new council members. Staff is really helpful. So I'll turn that now over to Amanda.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Diane. So now that we've talked a little bit about the overall local government context, the nomination process, time commitments and demands, we have a few other just little pieces, tidbits, we'll call them, of information we wanted to share with you today as those thinking about running as a candidate for elected office. So the first one here, my screen is just a note that for running your campaign, something you should know is after your nominations are filed and the candidate list is certified. So that's not like if you file on the. Do they get access? Sorry, Diane, do they get access to the voters list before they're certified as a candidate? No.
No, they don't. You have to be
No.
certified as a candidate.
Right. So thank you for that. So you will be provided by your clerk access to the voters list. And that will be a tool that the municipality will decide how that will come to you. It's usually electronically these days. It might be in a hard copy form where you get a copy, but that is a tool that you will be able to use to identify potential people who might vote for you to cross off that you talked to various people. And it's something that you can note. It's also a good tool if your next door neighbor or your best friend, you notice they're not on the voters list and you think they might vote for you. You'll be able to talk to your friend or your neighbor to say, hey, make sure you're on the voters list. Here's how you get added. You go to website Elections Ontario, register to vote on.ca, and you fill it out. But something to be aware of is you will receive the voters list, so you'll be able to see who is and who is not on the voters list and use that for your campaign purposes. So not everyone realizes that will be a tool available to them. So for your information, the biggest kind of tips that we have are, if you're considering to run, feel free to ask your questions early. The process has a lot of steps. There's a lot of unique things in the municipal sector. So feel free to ask questions at any time of your municipal clerk. And we've said this a few times, but your clerk really is your best resource. If you're running in a large municipality, your clerk will have a staff team, and they may have another first point of contact, but the clerk's department is the place that can help you with all of your questions, directing on both election and municipally operations wise. And one thing to know is they are obligated to support and all candidates equally. So, they will have rules and procedures. I know as a former clerk, I had a rule that when I received a question from one candidate, I provided the answer to all candidates. Like, they will have procedures to make sure that everyone has the same information. They'll treat you all equally. Third is kind of just a tip. If you haven't done so already, consider speaking with your current or former counselors about the role, the time demands, what it will look like, how many midnight calls you can expect from upset ratepayers, because that will happen, and something for you to be aware of. It's always helpful to talk to someone who's had the role. And then we also encourage all members, all candidates to just reflect on their current, why are they running? What do they want to be like as a community leader? And also asking yourself whether you have the time to prepare for meetings and listening to different viewpoints, making decisions by consensus, all those things. And finally, in the municipal sector, really, I believe, both of us believe that, your voice and perspective matters. Strong decisions are made when we have more diverse opinions at the table. And if you care about your community, if you're thoughtful, you're willing to collaborate and learn, these are valuable qualities in the municipal sector. So it's something we like to highlight. We're almost done here. Just a couple more slides for us today is if you haven't considered, I'm sure you have, social media is a growing tool in all of our lives in all sectors, but of course, including in the municipal sector as well. Um, One thing that's increasingly important in municipal leadership is how municipal leaders conduct themselves online. And uh, even though councillors have one vote at the table, their influence can be carry different weight depending on social media and online presence. And uh, we have these tips here. More, to avoid responding in anger or frustration. We all know these, I think, social media and communication tips. But it's hard, sometimes being a municipal councillor, comments online can be very and feel and be very personal to a member of council. So something to prepare yourselves for and consider how you will choose to respond or not. Um, Assume that every post, comment, or message can be screenshotted or shared, even if it's deleted. So in 3 years from now, a private message you sent to someone could come up again to haunt you, and it does happen. So I think just really exercise caution and think about your social media presence and conduct. Um, and then we also suggest considering creating kind of your own personal little value statement, kind of that same way you approach council. What's my vision for my social media presence? How will I listen and engage with others? And then consider that in those moments of, challenge when you're reading a nasty comment about yourself. Someone's opinion about yourself online. And while I hope that for none of you, the reality is it will probably happen at some point throughout your term. So something to be aware of and think about. Essentially, this slide is here to remind you that how you remember that how you conduct yourselves online does impact how you're perceived, and it reflects your approach to leadership as well. And then I think finally, this is almost our final piece, just a few key takeaways. So being on council, as you all know, is not about just getting your way. Diane and I both have had experience with council members who run for council on single issues, so a certain specific issue. And that's all they initially cared about. But it is about more than just getting your way. It's about listening more than speaking, making decisions that help the whole community, not just one group or one segment. Compromise, patience, teamwork, and leadership with respect, even in disagreement. Municipal government really is the area of government that has the most day-to-day impact on everybody's life, who drives, who takes a bus, who, plays any sport in a public facility. And it's important that council members work together to make decisions that serve the whole community, even if they represent a ward. That whole community matters. If you choose to run, there are clear nomination and campaign processes. We hope that we shed some light on some of those for you today. The good news is you have every municipality has a municipal clerk who really truly is the best guide for any election related questions on deadlines, those spending limits, anything and everything. They are a great resource to you. And then, of course, just a final reminder that whether you're successful or not in your candidacy, that financial campaign reporting does matter and does continue to be required to be submitted following Election Day, even if you're not successful. And I'm sure Diane mentioned this, but just in case it was lost, if you don't file your financial paperwork by the deadline, even if you're unsuccessful, you cannot run in the next municipal election. And nobody wants to be disqualified, I think, from making that choice for themselves, right? 4 years from now. So just a friendly reminder. I've actually had someone contact me and ask me if they are eligible to run. And unfortunately, this individual didn't file their paperwork, and I had to tell them that they couldn't run. And that's awful. So, but they knew that the requirements also. So just don't let that be you. The key resources. So we're here today to answer any additional questions, but there really is some great information online. AMO is the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, a great organization who has training programs, little videos, municipal one-on-one. They have training sessions tailored directly towards people who are interested in running for council. So highly recommend you check out their website. The AMCTO election calendar, it is actually more of a staff resource, but I share it with all members of council. It's a great resource that goes through all of the requirements in the Municipal Elections Act and when they happen throughout the election year, available online as well. The Ministry of Municipal Affairs does put out some guides, primarily the candidate guide. The 2026 one, as Diane said, is not available yet. We expect it will come out. We never know,
Nope,
but we
we
think
don't know.
we don't know, but we think it usually comes out February, March. Definitely your municipal clerk will put that on their website. They will share it with anyone who's registered. It's a great guide. The 2022 one is also available online and still a good resource. Nominee is a great website for just election or municipal kind of 101 info. I actually found this as a result of doing some research for this session. I didn't know this existed before. The Federation of Canadian Municipalities, known as FCM, does have a guide for women candidates specifically. So the link is there. I hope you have a read. And then also Open Council. But again, I've said it a few times, your municipal clerk and the candidate guide that your specific municipality will put out probably in the new year will contain all the municipal specific information about the municipality that you are looking to be a candidate in. So those are some key resources we wanted to share with you. But we are here. I hope that this was helpful to you, and there was some information you didn't know that you've learned coming into this. It was a pleasure being here tonight. And but Diane and I are here. If there are any additional questions we didn't answer, or we just have anything else you want to add.
Amanda, I'm just checking the chat, but I will stop recording so that people can feel free to ask their questions. But before I do that, I do want to thank you for this excellent presentation. So much good information. So I will end the session now and open it up for questions.